can?
I don't. Yeah.
I just did it. I just ran it right here.
I know. We just did it. What did you? How did you search his name, Eric? Did this like Del Arroz one word or something? Maybe that's like all I'm thinking is he did it differently.
I think that's my Kickstarter email address. Gosh, they make it very difficult to.
Sorry, I am going online with Jon Del Arroz to talk about our being shadow banned on Kickstarter.
I'm only coming up with my old projects, nothing new here.
Yeah, Dynamite Thor's not on there either, so
we cannot be searched on Kickstarter or Google.
Are you? Oh, right. Yeah, so that's different. We do have that in the article. If you go to his personal profile,
Dynamite. If you go to my personal profile, it's on there, right?
Yeah, that's different.
It's just a person who's like just searching for me or searching for my book and doesn't know where my profile is, can't just get to my book. And that's, that makes it really hard to find. So we've got Donald Kent, the artist, joining us right now. How's it going, Dom?
Good. Can you hear me okay? Okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm kind of in shock. I got the news, and I've been just sending the message out on social media as much as I can. A lot of people on the right, and in my sphere, etc., are really shocked and upset about it, and so the news is kind of that. This is the news today, basically, in my sphere, and I've just been thinking through, frankly, how can we deal with this? If we can make, turn lemons into lemonade, so to speak, thinking really this is going beyond a Kickstarter and into becoming a cause in a way. And I hope it does shine a light on other people like ourselves, conservative, creative content developers. And that this, one window into the struggles that we have dealing with censorship.
Yeah, this is like a soft censorship here, right. And it's almost more insidious than just an outright banning, because it's like they know if they outright ban me, it's going to become a huge news story, right? And I obviously did not violate any terms of service. I've delivered on all my crowd funds before. All my books here, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just a comic book. And I have worked with Kickstarter for the last 2 years. So, they know they can't, mess with me. And they probably know from our history with, what happened with Indiegogo, and our, sort of resolved conflict with them, that if I was taken off the site or something like that, they'd have a pretty big lawsuit on their hands, right? And Kickstarter probably doesn't want to deal with that. So this is their way of making it it makes it harder. Fortunately, Bounding into Comics will cover this, but it makes it harder to make it a general news story. Yeah. Because most people will go, well, your project's still there. What's the problem?
Yeah. Right?
But it makes. If the audience can't find it, it might as well not even exist. It's really insidious.
Right. Two things. I first of all want to thank John Trent so much for getting this news out there. I'm extremely grateful for that, John. Thank you so much. And then also,
no problem.
The kind of hilarity of the whole thing is that the Kickstarter's been going for 3 days. I don't know, 3 or 4 days, and we already have $3,700 in supporters. So, and our goal is 5,000. So we still have, the rest of the month to go. So it's crazy because it just shows, well, it's a testament to you and your fan base, John. And I think I want to give a big hug to all those guys, but also just to people who support, make comics great again. And there's a lot of them out there, and, it's a scene. It's a cool thing to be a part of. So to get that much money in such a short period of time, it's funny how next thing we know, you guys you're too successful. We have to find a way to shut you down. It's insidious, like you said.
Yeah, and really, I mean, Bounding into Comics is the only website that covers stuff like this, and I got to reiterate that. I mean, I could tell CBR or I could tell Bleeding Cool. There's no way they'd care. They won. Both those sites barely support any indie crowd funds on Kickstarter or anything like that as it is. But two, they would see this and they'll be like, we don't want to give you attention, so we're gonna just silence on your book for the mainstream media here. So Bounding is the only site that really covers this kind of stuff and really helps out indie creators, regardless of political persuasion. And that's why this is my go-to comic book news site, guys. So make sure to bookmark it.
Yeah, Bounding into Comics is the premier site for comics news, as far as I'm concerned. No doubt.
I wonder if so. Captain Cummings says that this is the first campaign of Jon's I've financially supported. I wonder if it's because you supported it, Captain Cummings, that this happened.
The curse of Captain Cummings.
The curse of Captain Cummings.
Sounds like a great pirate story right there,
It does. Oh man, so I don't know what to do. So what are thoughts in the chat or anybody, like how do I actually get exposure at this point when I've got? I mean, here's my options, right? I mean, I've got Kickstarter won't even allow people to search for the term, so I have to get the link places for people to see it. And I've got Twitter. If you look at like Twitter and when I put up links versus when I don't put up links. Every time I put up a link on Twitter, like it seems like less people see the post than when I don't put up a link, like by far. And then on the flip side, you put up if you put up Facebook's such a train wreck that like it doesn't show it to anybody,
Because I've been
promote under those conditions.
I've been spamming Facebook all day today.
So you deal with this, Jon. I mean, I'm sure you've got the same issues with. You've probably got Twitter shadow banning and Facebook doing this to you too. How do you get your links out there, and like what's your strategy?
I don't think with Twitter, I don't think we've had any issues with Twitter for the most part. But obviously, last year Facebook basically did delete our entire
that's right
50,000 Facebook page. And then got it back. But I mean, the way they've changed everything over the past years. Even with like having 250,000 people liking your stuff, like that you're only getting like at most post reaches like maybe 3,000 at most, and like as you said, like link articles definitely perform way worse than if we do a meme or something. Memes can go a lot bigger, but that's I also think that's kind of understandable. People are willing to engage with a meme a lot easier than they are to read a whole article.
I don't know that that's the case though. I think Facebook's algorithm throttles them, so they don't even see them.
Well, yeah. I do think there's some of that, but I mean, I know just from my own personal habits, I'm more likely to be like, oh, that's really funny, and then move on, and then instead of like, oh, I'm gonna read an article for 5-10 minutes, unless it's something that like really interests me. So I get that there is what kind of users are looking for there. But I mean, when your stuff is only being shown to like 2% of your audience on any given post, like I do think there's an issue with that. But what's interesting though is one of the things we've kind of been doing is we've built up a pretty solid Facebook group. We've got like 1,000 people in there, a little over 1,000 people in there. It's just called Bounding into Comics Fans. We get way more engagement on all of our stories, especially our links in there, than we do on the actual Facebook page, which is insane if you think about that, because there's only a little over 1,000 in the group,
right?
And we have 250,000 on the page. So that's kind of where you can kind of get traction still on Facebook right now. Who knows if they're going to change that or not, but that's one of the things that and that's all kind of just been organic. So people have just joined in, and I've invited some people, but it's not anything like I'm like actively promoting. So people have to find it and join. As far as like getting your stuff out there, I mean, we have the advantage that we were able to apply to Google News,
Right.
and that helps us a lot because they'll feature that lets us be featured in people's like Google Discover. So when you open up your phone and you open up the Google app and you go to Discover, our articles will sometimes be featured there, and especially if you have allowed your settings to let Google track you, and they can have their algorithm show you stuff that you engaged in previously and then show stuff that you might be interested in reading. So that helps us out a lot.
Good.
But even then, that can be a little difficult, especially there's been a lot of like research and writing done on this, and given that we're still kind of, I would say we're like middle to small as far as a site in the industry that we cover. I mean, if you like, just as an example, if you search like Dragon Ball, if you want to do that, you just search Dragon Ball, and then so like mainly like this Discover section, there'll be like a what is it? There's like a it says like top stories or whatever, and it's like a carousel that you can scroll through, and you'll see that most of the articles on there are like comicbook.com or CBR. So you still kind of get crowded out with like the big people. So it can be, you have to really find, for us, we have to really find like unique angles on stories, or either be the first to a story. So that's how we've kind of been thriving.
Have you done much with MeWe and Gab? Because I've gone on there, and I just find that those sites are just absolutely dead in terms of traffic.
Yeah, I mean, I post, so you see my...
I see your post there. Yeah.
You watch our Bounding into Comics live streams on Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern on the Bounding into Comics YouTube channel. And if you haven't, you should subscribe to our YouTube channel. Sorry, I'm going to just plug that there.
No, please. And absolutely.
But if you see that, I share my screen quite often. You'll see that I have like a ton of tabs open, and I have a Gab, MeWe, and then I have Minds, and then I have my Discord. So basically, every article that we publish, I just basically copy the headline, and then plug them into like Gab, MeWe, and Minds. But I'm not seeing like any kind of significant traffic from those platforms at all. But I mean, they're growing. It's just hard. We're in a niche industry, and obviously, like those are niche social media platforms. So I don't expect anything like massive from them. And people don't like to change their habits, and their habits are Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Google. And you are seeing like people switch to like DuckDuckGo, and I see people switching to Bing and stuff for search engines. But Google still has the market. Like basically, they own the market for the search engine.
Gosh,
and that's just where the audiences are. And it's just YouTube is where the audience is too. And we've always just kind of go where the audience is. But we're not like I do engage with those other platforms. But that's just not where people want to hang out at this time.
Gosh, yeah, it's a weird thing, and it's just like you said with a niche product and whatever. I mean, and obviously like Dynamite Thor is a pretty niche like idea, right? I mean, we're talking about a golden age superhero. Like, we talked about this earlier in DM that nobody's heard of this character before. I'm like the only person who is out here like championing this character like ever.
I've never heard of it before.
With a little help from me,
and just because I found it funny. But Donald over here has had a great history of just researching these public domain superheroes, which is awesome. But it's a small community as it is, and if people can't even type in Dynamite Thor and put it in, I mean, it really puts us at a severe hindrance and disadvantage.
Oh, definitely.
You gotta wonder if maybe I just pop in here. I'm thinking if there could be like a site just for shadow banned links. You know what I'm saying? Like create some kind of site, right? That because if it's going to be like this, if we're going to expect to be treated like this going forward, and we have been treated like this for a good while now, why not have a directory of, all the shadow banned or censored links to anything that's, right-wing content? That could be
when you Google Dynamite Thor, Bounding into Comics article pops up number 1, and Public Domain Superheroes Wiki article is number 2, and then Jon's Twitter is number 3. Yeah, so we've got we've got the whole market on Dynamite Thor right here.
What, your Kickstarter isn't showing up?
Kickstarter's not showing. Oh, that's interesting on Google. No, it's not.
Yeah, the Kickstarter.
Let's check this.
I'm not seeing anything.
Whoa.
Your Kickstarter does not show up on Google either.
That's crazy.
Which that could be on Kickstarter. Why? Like they might have been able to. Like if it's not searchable on Kickstarter, then it probably didn't go to their, like the Google bot crawlers might not have been able to search it on the.
Let's look up Flying Sparks.
I'll also look up Donald Kent.
Look, Flying Sparks Kickstarter comes up number 1.
Nice.
So when you look up Flying Sparks, it's there. So they did not. So and Kickstarter is very prioritized in terms of Google's algorithm. So it should be up top on these sort of things. But Dynamite Thor, it's nowhere to be found. My link's just been. It's just they've completely hidden it. It's crazy. Wow.
Right.
I don't think people would associate me with it yet. Obviously, I'm small potatoes, but I have been marketing like insanely over the last 3 days. I don't know if you search Donald Kent, Dynamite Thor, if any, what kind of results might come up. Probably.
Well, we tried to. He tried to run Donald Kent on here too. Right? You tried this, right?
Yeah, I did.
And
yeah.
And
what happened? Nothing.
And if you look. I mean, Donald Kent, your name's on here like 10 times. I mean, it should come up in their algorithm immediately, right? So, yeah, I mean, it's Donald Kent, Dynamite Thor. Let's try it on Google, see what happens. Just a bounding article. Yeah.
Got some of my YouTube.
So, So Kickstarter is just like unpersoned to this.
Whoa.
this link.
The zone of being unpersoned.
This is so crazy. Is this the kind of thing I can claim tortious interference because they're interfering with the contract between me and those who've already agreed to back the project? No, because the people who have backed the project can still back the project. They haven't killed the project, but we'll see what their customer support says. So, I mean, I put in a ticket now to see if we can resolve this. And if their customer support is helpful, it'll be one thing. If they're not, obviously I'm going to let people know about that.
Right.
Just shocking. But this is the only way to get it out, guys. I need your help sharing these links. Bianca is on Twitter hitting the link a lot right now, which I appreciate. Thank you for doing that. The only people who see this project are going to see the link, whether I post it or one of you post it. This is it. There's no possible way to search for this project otherwise at the moment.
Well, we need
your help right now.
Yeah, let's make a call out to all our friends and all our social media networks to just post one link to our Kickstarter on their pages, wherever they are, and just to kind of give it a little bit of a boost. In a sense, I would like it if this were a small cause in a way, not like we're the only ones that this has ever happened to, but in a sense, this is the time when you should stand up and be part of something and help to help.
I haven't heard of this happening on Kickstarter before, though. We might be the only ones this ever happened to.
I'm sorry, I should say in YouTube shadow bans people a lot. I should specify.
Right. That. Other sites do this all the time. And I'm shadow banned on Reddit too, incidentally. People cannot find my posts on Reddit, so I quit using it.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
That's Reddit, though.
Oh, Reddit is. Reddit is just horrible.
Right, I think of it as one of the worst places, but
as far as luckily we've gotten big enough that other people share our stuff anymore. But I mean, when you're really starting out, small potatoes, Reddit was like a good place to kind of get some awareness about our site. Right. You can't share. You have to basically, in order to share 10 of your article links, you have to either share 90 other articles or comment 90 other times on something, because that you can only do 10% self promotion or anything like that.
That's crazy.
You just don't have. I don't have the time to go on Reddit and type actual like do stuff like share other people's stuff and.
Reddit's like a
but
crazy
we're
girlfriend.
We're big enough now that we have people that share our stuff all the time now. So
that's absurd. Yeah, that's absurd.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing me this link. It's like Critical Blast is got a pretty good website too. Made a post. It's come to our notice that your comic book is about a protagonist who regularly throws sticks of dynamite. Naturally, we cannot condone anything that promotes unsafe activities that children may emulate or activities indicative of terrorist nature. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely they'll make an excuse like that for sure. And that's and that's what's going to happen here. But I mean, I've never seen Kickstarter censoring content before. So if that's I've seen them, block some projects at the start, but I haven't seen them like go on and do this sort of thing before. Let's check out like some of the comics that are up there that you can see. And is it any worse than like a superhero who chucks dynamite?
Right.
Mars Attacks.
Right.
It's pretty. What a thing that is. Comics and illustration. Let's go here. What else? What else is up here on Kickstarter right now?
Batman the Animated Series game that IDW has right now.
And for the record, the comic is not gratuitous or anything. It's still, superhero level explosions and things. It's
pretty PG.
Yeah, very. Yeah. Sure.
So I don't know. I mean, if they want to start censoring PG content, like that, this is a very interesting thing. Yeah. But we don't know what's going on for real at this point. It could have just been a rogue employee, like just messing with the algorithm or something like that. It could just be a technical glitch. I mean, I'm hesitant to believe that, this stuff targets me so often that I wouldn't believe it's a technical glitch.
I don't think it's a technical glitch.
But
yeah. That's gracious of you to say. I'm sure there's probably a lot more violent material out on Kickstarter. Yeah, I'm sure you have to sort of check a box saying that this is for adults and, but it's absurd.
Yeah, there's no problem here. Yeah. So it shouldn't be an issue. Yeah, Captain Cummings says the problem is they made the campaign unsearchable without letting you know, assuming this is intentional. Let's say you get a service turned off like cable, you'll get advance notice. Yeah, that's true. These internet companies don't seem to be, I guess, subject to rules for supporting independent contractors or consumers or anything like that, like normal companies do. And that seems to be a trend that's a problem with our society right now overall. Of course, I don't know how to fix that. I don't know. So I don't know. Let's get into the project, I guess. So John, have you read many Golden Age superheroes or know much about public domain superhero initiatives and all that?
Not really.
All right, Donald Kent is the expert in this.
I'll have to jump right in there on that topic. Right?
Why don't you talk about this?
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about. So just quick thing, I used to teach middle and high school as an art teacher, and my master's degree, I did a special program on the study of comic books as a medium to convey information as a teaching tool. And it turns out that comics, the combination of words and pictures, are a very unique delivery system for information, and that they actually are fantastic for teaching. So there's educational comics out there on history and this and that, but it's generally considered sort of boring because we want to see action, we associate it with entertainment, and through my sort of research and all that, I kind of went back into the history of comics naturally, right? So I was amazed at just how rich and full the world of Golden Age comics was. These days we just have that filter of Marvel, DC, and it's like and of course there's the indies, right? But the comic book world was this amazingly huge, diverse universe of wonderful stuff. And I thought, not only that, there's something really, really Americana about all of it. There's, of course, Westerns and romance and other things, but it's just so charming and it's so innocent and so fun. It obviously didn't have any kind of garbage with like the SJW agenda and that horse crap. So it was just a relief. And obviously, I needed to bring comics into the classroom that were appropriate, right? That I didn't have to worry if there was some kind of weird subcontext. So I got into that, and then I worked for this newspaper, and so I pitched this idea of doing a public domain comic books kind of a rap page where I would take these public domain characters that I couldn't get sued for, and do scenes in my local city where I live, so that it kind of used the popular events and time and places and history of where I live to, and then put advertisements and product placement and, crossword puzzles and contests for schools. And this huge idea, and the newspaper was all about it and they were so happy. And then some other guy came in and sold like a sports page, and we lost that part of the budget. So I was like, another great idea shot down. Story of my life. But I went and put that online. I created a website. I've since taken it down because my normie name is all over it, and I just thought I'll just rehash this later. But it was Golden Comics, and so I had a bunch of content on there where I was researching things. Also, there was a sort of a brief period, I'm going to say like maybe 12 years ago or so, where suddenly there was this public domain boom in, Dynamite Comics. If you just look up, say, Alex Ross, Golden Age Heroes, you'll see all kinds of beautiful paintings of, all those characters that they were trying to bring back. Marvel had their own little thing that they tried out for a while. I don't know if it was Jeff Loeb or who the author was for that, but it was like a trend. It was just a bit of a trend for a while. I don't think any of it really stuck. I think it was kind of cool for its time. And then, people just sort of wanted to go back to their bread and butter characters, Spider-Man, Batman, whatever. But it's still a field that I think has a tremendous amount of value. There are people out there doing things like that. There's a group called Indelible Comics. They're on Facebook. There's an old company called Dell Comics, which you guys would know. It's something that was around in the 50s, 40s, 50s, 60s. And they have their own characters, their own universe. And so these guys were just like fans of Dell Comics. They had like a fan page on Facebook, which anybody can make these kind of fan groups. And somebody tossed out the idea like, hey, let's just put together a mini comic of Dell characters where we write and draw them. And it turned out that almost everybody in the group was either a writer or an artist. And so it exploded. Awesome. Yeah, it exploded into this like incredible thing that we've got going on. So, we've published, I don't know, like 4 different books already. And it's just this lively community of creators. And it's just so much fun. Again, there's a sort of a nostalgia to it. And there's a level of legitimacy that you feel where you're like, I'm connected to characters that have a history. They've been published. There is reference material here. And it's fun for the reader because then they can see, here's the new, fresh, modern version. And it could be, like in our case, this is the grandson of Dynamite Thor, right? So that's really wonderful to see the relationship about how he gets to know his family history, discovers his powers. It just gives more backstory and more humanity, I guess, to the character. And so, but other people would write these Golden Age characters in their time frame, in say the 30s, 40s. Right. So
yeah, I thought putting a different twist on it and making it like a modern character that's my own character, like you said, added more to it. And it also, I think it's easier for the audience. It's like, the people who are reading my books are knowing they're getting my superhero character who's going to be in my story, right? Even though it's got the powers, it's got the legacy to it. It's got a little bit of history there with those old books. It's like you can start reading this by yourself. You can enjoy this. If you're a big Flying Sparks fan, you're going to enjoy the storytelling of this. It's going to be something that is for the people who are reading my comics, and that's what I wanted to present first.
Yeah, there's you have your own flavor, style, community, and I think this is just going to be a fantastic new piece, for your audience to enjoy. It's just this, looking at your other stuff in context to that, it creates just even more, I don't know, flavor. There's a bigger menu, so to speak, of stuff to read.
Yeah, and then YouTube's not giving notifications for the streams too. That's always fun. Make sure to hit. I know you probably have, Frank, but when you're subscribed, you also have to hit the little bell button in order to get notifications on the channel. So make sure everybody does that. I can't control whether YouTube actually gives the notifications or not. I think YouTube throttles things when they see like words like shadow banned and things like that, because they don't want people on YouTube talking badly about YouTube. So I think that happens from time to time over here. Have you had any problems with that on your YouTube channel over there, John?
No. We haven't really had any. I don't know. I don't think we're big enough for YouTube yet to do anything about us. Our biggest issue is like just getting demonetized, like our Kirk Douglas. I did a story about the people like going after Kirk Douglas when he like literally an hour after Michael Douglas had announced he had passed away, or even less. People were accusing him of doing some horrible things to Natalie Wood, and I think we got demonetized because we were talking about what the horrible things that they were accusing him of doing. And that's our biggest issue, is just being that's like getting demonetized when it's a news story.
It's accusation culture. It's the non-accountability accusation culture. Like, oh, someone famous died. Oh, who did he abuse? Let's get out there and get huffy about it. It's like, how about get a life instead?
Well, it's crazy because the accusations are based off of Crazy Days, a comment on the Crazy Days and Nights, which is an anonymous like Hollywood gossip blog. It's based off of an anonymous comment on one of their posts. It's crazy.
So filtered gossip per se is what it is.
Yeah, it seems to be the way the internet works these days, unfortunately. So
it was one of our most viewed stories this year, and it was demonetized. So that just sucked.
I'm sorry,
but that's about it. But I think that's kind of normal. I think everyone has that issue.
Well, see, now there you go. Like anything, I don't know, any kind of content like that. If there's a way to get it on, say, another page where this is all the banned stuff. If we could put that all in one place. I recently became aware of a group on Twitter. It's a group of website developers and coders and these kind of guys. And they are kind of putting out a question saying, hey, let's brainstorm. What can we do to get around censorship and deplatforming? And that was just yesterday. I learned about that. And I messaged them just to kind of introduce myself, share a couple ideas. And then today this happens. So it's quite a karmic flow we're in here. But maybe I'll suggest that idea to them of like creating some kind of a site. Now that wouldn't stop you from being demonetized, I don't know, perhaps there could be a monetization for banned material. That would be hilarious, right? Because, you actually get paid to get banned from your, of course, and I'm just thinking wildly out of the box. I'm like an idea generator, but something to think about.
Frank on here is talking to John Trent real quick. Let's get that. I was impressed at the speed at which your article came out. I was Googling Dynamite Thor, and before I even knew there was a shadow ban going on, you had a whole article about it. Good work. Yeah, you guys are amazing.
Yeah, appreciate that, Frank. So one of the ways we can get around that monetization is obviously I could have put the YouTube up and then put it in an article and done an article about it. But one of the things I'm trying to do with YouTube is that I'm trying to like create separate content from the content that we have on the website. So we're not covering the same things on the website that we're covering on YouTube, and they're kind of symbiotic. But obviously, our website is not is monetized differently from YouTube.
So it makes sense. Like for different platforms, you kind of want to cover different things. So it's like, it's like I try not to I was writing an article this morning, and I could have written about the shadow banning and all that, but for my blog. But it's like, I want people to read the blog and watch the YouTube and not feel like they're like getting redundant information, right? And I guess that's the same thing you're doing.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're trying to do.
Cool. All right. Well, I think that's pretty much covers the topic. I mean, there's not much to say about it other than like, wow, this is crazy. And I hope that Kickstarter support listens to my complaint and responds to me promptly. So far, I've checked my email. I've not gotten a response from Kickstarter yet. So I'll definitely keep people updated as that goes along and if anything happens there. But again, I mean, the only way we're going to make the funding at this point without people even being able to search the term, without people being able to see it, I'm going to guess, like, if we go to comics, like, we won't even be able to find Dynamite Thor, on here.
Yeah, if it's being blocked from search, I'd expect that it's not even on their comics tab.
So nobody's going to be able to. The whole point of my going to Kickstarter too, instead of Indiegogo, is that Kickstarter, like, you can. I think I'm in graphic novels, maybe. Discover more. Let's do this. Is that oh boy. Let's go by end date. So the newest end dates should be here, but let's look for. Let's see, more filters. Let's look for live projects only. All right, and then let's see if we can find Dynamite Thor in here out of the live projects. I'm just gonna scroll through here and just see if it comes up. It should. So let's see. But the whole point of going on Kickstarter is that there's Common America, there's Tim Lim's book. Yeah. So he put his up a week before mine. So mine should be coming up here within the next few projects if it is indeed on here.
Is it sorted by date?
Yeah, it's sorted by date. So I'm looking
for his, right?
The date ending soonest. So like that means mine will be ending after his.
Yeah.
But we're down to all the live comics. You cannot even find it on the search here. It's not searchable. So nobody can discover my comic unless they have the link at all.
All right. Well,
this is crazy.
Yeah, this really, really does turn it into a cause. Everybody watching this, everyone who supports Jon and myself and Bounding Into Comics, just post one link in your social media. Just post one. You can let people know, that this is being shadow banned. This is the only way that we can get around conservative censorship. That would really, really be helpful.
Yeah, definitely need the help there. And thanks again to Bounding Into Comics for illuminating this. I actually would have had no idea this was the case. Like, I'm just sitting here yesterday and I'm like, my project's really stalling out. Like, what's going on? And, it's because nobody can find it. I'm not getting any of the discoverability of my other projects because nobody can even find this on the Kickstarter website. It's insane. The only people who see this are people who are on my social media and don't have, and can see the link through, their algorithms of the social media. Crazy. Do you think it's because he's in Iraq doing counterterrorism stuff? Do you think they're going to show a picture of Muhammad or something like that? I don't know. That's a good question. I did put Iraq in the description here, and terrorism. So
the first Iron Man is in Iraq.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
I know.
Yeah. And and you can show violence against Trump supporters. That's perfectly fine. But if you're showing anything other than that, then oh boy.
So please back this weekend, guys. And if you're watching the replay, we need your help. We've got about $1,300 to go to fund this, and we can get there pretty quickly if everybody comes in. I definitely recommend getting the hardcover version of this because it's got a single thick book with both my original story and Donald Kent's original story here, and the old school Dynamite Thor by Wright Lincoln. So you get everything all in one. beautiful hardcover package. And I would appreciate the support there, guys. So, and make sure to check out Bounding Into Comics, bookmark those guys, just read them. If you like comics, this is a great website for you.
A must.
And check out their YouTube also. Let me pull up the link so that people can subscribe to it. Bum, bum, bum. I'll help you out on there. Hopefully get a couple subscribers out of this.
Yeah, Bounding Into Comics is a staple. You got to have it.
Yeah, you can't. That's right, Kevin Cummings. You can't even find the campaign on the site without knowing the link. It's not searchable. It's not on the random, list of comic books. You cannot find the book anywhere. This is absolutely controlled. This is way worse than banning. If I was banned, I could go out there and be like, I'm banned. I'm on Indiegogo now. And then it's like an easy cause, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not banned. I'm just stuck. I'm following the rules. I have not violated any of the terms of service or anything like that. And nobody can find the book. And this is so insidious. It's just hurting me and Donald. We're trying to make a living at this, and there's nothing we can do.
All the more reason to make it a cause. I mean, if it's shadow banned or banned, what's the difference? We're still getting, abused in a way by censorship, and it's not right,
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thanks for coming on. Appreciate it, John. Anything you want to shout out there or anything like that, or?
I will be on Nerdrotic's channel tonight at 9 p.m. Or I don't know what time it's at, but it's Friday Night Tights. We're going to be talking about how a lot of these corporations are deploying a marketing strategy of attacking their consumers as one of the topics. So I'm looking forward to that, and so we'll be talking about that and a bunch of other things at around, I guess, 8:30, I guess, is usually when it starts Eastern time. But we do our Bounding Live on 9 p.m. Eastern on Wednesdays. So look for that.
And I'd like to ask people to come visit my site, AmericanZarathustra.com. My Facebook page is really the most active place right now. I'm on Twitter, YouTube, and I'm actually starting a podcast radio show in March that will be weekly on Tuesday nights. That's alongside Red Ice TV and Fash the Nation. So that I'm going to be making some big steps forward this year, and definitely going to be doing it with John.
Excellent. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Thanks for everybody's support. Back Dynamite Thor. We need to get there this weekend. I don't see any other way to make this happen other than if everybody from the YouTube channel here comes and helps out and grabs this book. Nobody else is going to see this, so it's all on you guys. And please share it around too. These are the best comics. We the best comics, as I keep saying. We the best comics, and you know that you're going to get a quality product. We've delivered and fulfilled on 4 different graphic novel campaigns in the last 2 years already, plus the stuff I put out to Amazon directly. And from my storytelling that it's going to be top notch. It's going to be a lot of fun. And Donald Kent's a hell of an artist here. So I'm just very happy to work with somebody on a project like this, which has been a character I've really wanted to get out there for a long time. So
we're perfectly matched for this. So I see a lot more coming in the future.
Awesome. All right, guys. Have a great Friday and have a great weekend, and watch out for big tech companies out there.
Take care, everyone.
See ya.
Hey, guys.
Bye-bye.